today's video is all about my favorites. I'm Melissa, welcome. And I have some plants that I really have just been loving this past month. I'm bringing this favorites video to you a little bit early because I'm about to go to town in this plant room. I am taking everyone out. I am hosing them off because, you know, I've been dealing with flat mites and some spider mites. I am going to treat everyone, clean in here, fertilize everyone. If you didn't know, I use a slow release fertilizer. I'm actually going to be switching it and trying out a different one. I'm still going to use Osmocote in some plants, but I really am looking forward to the new fertilizer. I just happened to browse across it when I was looking up some information, and I got 3 containers of it, so I am ready. I can't wait, and I will share it with you guys in that plant chores video when I go to fertilize, because I haven't used it yet, and I don't know how it's going to do compared to Osmocote, but we'll see. It has a better NPK, and it supposedly lasts for 9 months, and Osmocote is like 4 to 6. But for today's video, we are going to show you some plants that I have been absolutely obsessing over this month. Obsessing over. Some are a little bit big, so I might have to take you to them because they're in a couple different spots. So I will show you those in their spot. All right, let's get started to plant number 1. Plant number 1 is this large and in charge massive Anthurium. I don't know if you guys can even see her. This leaf is absolutely insane. I measured it. It is 16 inches. Like, this is my head and this is this leaf. It is insane, absolutely insane. I do have good news, you guys. So I have accidentally pollinated this hybrid. So this is my big hybrid. It has Magnificum and Crystallinum. That's what it was sold to me as. And she's gorgeous, the veining and everything on this plant. And I think it was around New Year's, a little bit before, when I was watering. I don't remember what I rubbed or what I crossed with her, but she has 2 inflows right now, and one of them is starting to change and it's going to be growing some berries. I am just ecstatic, you guys. I have not pollinated an Anthurium yet, and I honestly didn't even know I could pollinate a hybrid. And I didn't know even what I could possibly cross her with, but I crossed her unknowingly. I mean, I probably just did it for fun, and I don't remember. I didn't label it. I don't remember what I crossed it with. So next time I go to cross an Anthurium, I will label it, because I have a couple others that I crossed, which I think I may have crossed my clary too. And I do remember I crossed my clary with my Potato radiatum. And this one was either with that one. I pollinated this one with either my clary or my forgetii, because those are the only Anthuriums that have had inflows. And my new Dresserly had an inflow as well. And I did try to pollinate the Dresserly with this one just because it has another inflow, just for the fun of it. I don't think it would take or do anything. But I don't remember what I crossed it with. And let me show you the inflow here up close without stomping on these cats. But this is what the inflow is looking like. Do you see there's like little changes in the Anthurium inflow? I'm gonna be so excited. I can't wait. I'm so sad that I don't know what I crossed it with, but the little baby Anthuriums, if I can grow them, are honestly, it's going to be so much fun. I am just so excited for this whole process. I keep staring at this inflow every day and I'm like, wait a minute, it's changing. I'm just so happy, but I love her. So she was in my IKEA cabinet. You guys remember I had all my Anthuriums in there, and I took her out over the new year when I found out I had mold in my cabinet. I took my pegboards out. I made a whole video about it. So I still have some Anthurium in my cabinet, but I took my larger ones out, this being one of them, and she put out 2 leaves since being out of the cabinet. I don't remember which one was the second newest, but this is like literally the latest Anthurium leaf, and it has quadrupled, like doubled in size since, like with some of these other ones that you can see compared to the rest of them. How much bigger this latest one is, it's huge. So as of right now, she is my favorite Anthurium. I seriously have so much repotting to do. All of my Anthuriums need to be repotted. And she's got a ton of roots coming out of this pot. Look at this. Do you see that? She is on my repot list, so that has got to be taken care of soon at some point. I definitely need to get some bigger pots for some of these guys. I want to get some bigger clear pots because I don't have anything bigger than a 6-inch, and I do want to put her in a 6-inch. But she is massive and I absolutely love her. I totally recommend Anthurium hybrids. I feel like they're so much easier. They're not as finicky, and yeah, you can't be disappointed in this one. So beautiful, and I'm so excited. Another plant I have been obsessing over lately is my Philodendron Varicosum. Look at her. I am just super ecstatic that she's even growing for me. I have done some videos on her and on my channel. She has had such a journey with me. This plant is over 2 years old. This is the 3rd time trying to grow it, and it is loving being on a pole. I had it in my cabinet for just a little bit and it did well in there, but I took it out when I went to extend the grow pole. It's on Thick Leaves grow pole. And I have her actually sitting back there in that empty space where that black pot is back there. And so far she's doing well. I did see some spider mites on her when I had that like weird spider mite outbreak in my room on some of my phylos. So I think they're gone though. I don't see any more on this one because I was worried that I took it out that it was going to start catching some pest. But so far so good. But I love Philodendron Varicosum. I know it can be a finicky plant and it can be a difficult one to grow, and in my experience it has been a difficult one to grow just because I feel like it didn't start out the healthiest, so it wasn't one that started off the best, so that's kind of why it's been difficult. But so far it's doing well. It's actually attaching into the pole, I just noticed, because I wasn't sure it had attached yet. And let me show you, there is a root right here in the thickly pole, and that's exciting because I feel like the nodes were having a hard time growing into here, but it seems like it's taking. I have little pins, little clips attaching the node into the moss as best as I can to encourage those aerial roots to attach. So as each new kind of growth comes out, I'm kind of taking a pin and pinning it against here. And I'm trying to be better about keeping the moss hydrated. It's just sometimes it's really hard in my space here with how warm it's getting in here already. I have so many plants that are drying out super fast, and it's been a challenge already. I'm gonna have to start watering twice a week in here. Yes, I'm really glad to see her growing, and it makes me so happy. The leaves are absolutely gorgeous. They have the beautiful fuzzy petiole. Do you see that? In the back side. Seriously, it's just such a stunning plant. So I would say in my experience, it has been a challenge to grow, but I feel like under the right environment and, you know, once it kind of stabilizes, it should hopefully grow okay. So we'll see. I'm excited to see it growing finally, and I'm excited to see what it's going to look like for me. Next up, I had to feature this Alocasia. This is a newer Alocasia in my collection. It's called a Alocasia Heterophylla, or a dragon's breath. Oop, she's still wet, she's dripping. This one was a purchase, maybe, I think it was in January. Yeah, it was in January. So last month, and I recently repotted it, so I do have a video on my channel not too long ago, and it's doing well since the repot. I am going to be treating it with a fungicide soon because I feel like some of the spots are coming in like it potentially was spreading, because I did cut some growth off on this one, but it is a beautiful Alocasia. I can tell so far, oops, it is just dripping. Let me put the little cover tray back on here. I have one of the cats below me and it's dripping on her. But I can tell it's a thirsty Alocasia. It was pretty well established. I did get a pretty full pot, which I am very fortunate of. And I found like 12 corms that I have rooting in my cabinet right now. So I feel like I'm very lucky that I did get a full one, and it's doing well. It has pretty much, I think, adjusted after the repot, and it has some new growth it's actually pushing out. There's a couple here, and there's a few more. But I think the leaves are just so cool. That shape, so unique, and I love this alocasia. I have a feeling it's going to be one of my favorites once it grows more, you know, and like gets big and establishes itself. I think it's just so cool and very lucky. I did buy this from a plant shop that I found online. I can link, I did an unboxing video on this plant as well. I can link that video down below in the shop that I got this from if you're curious. I don't know if they have any more if you're looking for one. But so far for me, I know alocasias can be a finicky plant genus, but I feel like for me, this one has done well, and it seems to not be as finicky. It is very thirsty, I do know that. It's hard to judge some plants in my space just because everything tends to dry so quickly in my environment. But this one, I feel like it starts to droop when it gets really thirsty. So I can already pick up that it's a thirsty alocasia. But I love it, and I'm excited to see it growing more, and yeah, I can't wait. A moss pole that I want to show you guys is my Philodendron Glorious. I have featured my Splendid in a favorites video, and it's done and it's growing really well. I actually have it back behind me on this side, and it put out a pretty large leaf. But this one, I feel like, I don't know, this one I started at the same time. This was actually birthday plant mail last January, so I've had this plant exactly 1 year. It was one vine. I propped it and rooted the cuttings, and I started this one on the pole at the same time with my Splendid, and that was around May of last year, shortly after I moved, because I knew I instantly wanted to get this plant climbing on a pole. And look at the large leaf I got recently. That's a new leaf, and this is a new leaf. So if you didn't know, the hybrid here is crossed with a Melanochrysum, and this one is crossed with the Gloriosum. I do have a Gloriosum actually right here, and the Milano I actually just did in another video, a repot video. So I do really love the Glorious. I love the velvety leaves and everything. I'm just so excited to see. It's a pretty large leaf too, like this is my head. So I'm excited for this one. This one does grow a bit slower for me than the Splendid. The Splendid has definitely grown faster. And this one I feel like is a little bit more thirsty. So I try to keep the pole hydrated. Sometimes it dries out though, and I try not to let it get to that point, but sometimes it's really hard in my space. But I do know that this one likes to be watered pretty consistently and on schedule, so I just do my best to keep it hydrated. But I love this one. I can't wait for even bigger leaves. I'll probably be extending this one soon because this one is just in a 3-foot pole, so I'll probably add a 3-foot extension on to this one probably in a couple more months. For the next 3 plants that I want to show you, I'm going to take you to their spot because one is hanging and I can't get it down. I don't want to tangle it, and the other 2 are out of my plant room. So I'm going to do a little vlog and show you the rest of the plants, and then that'll be it for the favorites video for this month. One of my favorites that I have been absolutely loving, you can see it hanging on the end there, that is my string of turtles, my Peperomia Prostrata. Look at how long and lush and dangly it is. Oh, it is so beautiful. I seriously have been obsessed with it this month. I just don't know what it is. I think because it's gotten really long and just beautiful. Hopefully you can see it without all that crazy sunlight coming in. But look at her. I love her. I actually have an old video on my channel where I repotted her about 5 months ago. If you're curious, I can link it. She was so small back then, and she literally has filled out on her own. I am obsessed. Highlight is key with these guys, and like a more shallow pot, it's in a chunky mix, but I water mine once a week, sometimes twice a week even in my space. It really depends on the temperature in here. But yes, highlight is key for those guys. Okay, we're going from really bright to really dark. And one of my favorites this month, I was gonna say it's between my Maranta, red Maranta, and my original lemon lime. I have 3 other lemon limes, but this one is my OG. And they're over here because they have all come down with flat mites, so they're like quarantine. They have sulfur and Azamax. I am making content on this, so stay tuned for another video on flat mites. I do have one already, but it was before I really knew that I had them, and you need a microscope to see them, and I know how to use it better so I can spot them better. So some of my Amaranthus here aren't doing the best just because just them coming down to flat mites and then less light and all of that. But this lemon lime is doing well, and I love my red Maranta. They're so full and beautiful, but yeah, these have definitely, I'm glad these are doing okay, and I'm sad some of my other ones are not, but I love Marantas. I have a total of 11 Marantas in my collection, so yeah, these ones, I'm glad to see that they're still hanging in here, but I love them. The last favorite that I'm going to show you for this month is this 9-foot moss pole. I haven't showed you guys this pole yet. Well, I haven't showed you it since I extended it. This is my Monstera siltepecana, and look at those split leaves, you guys. Look. And this newest one is still like hardening. I don't want to touch it too much, but it has like 3 holes there. It's so beautiful. And it has some like other vines catching up that are getting splits, and there's even one down here that has splits that's growing. But I love Monstera siltepecana. I love Monstera in general, but I did extend it to 9 feet so it won't fit in my plant room, and I will not extend a moss pole to 9 feet ever again. It's too tall, and I'm having to water it with a step stool or a chair, and it's steady, but it's not like completely stable. So as soon as it reaches the top, I am going to chop it to the last extension, which is here. I don't know what I'll do with all this growth. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I didn't want to chop it so soon, and just like, I don't know, I just feel like there wasn't enough roots, wasn't enough growth to chop it because I really want to get more fenestrated leaves. So I'm going to let it continue climbing for a little bit longer and just see how it goes, and then I will make a decision at that point. Thank you guys for watching my favorites for this month. I can't wait till the end of March. I feel like just with getting all my plants, you know, organized and rearranged, and getting plants put out back outside, and setting up a new planty corner, and I'm going to rearrange this space out here too. I'm really excited for it, and I'm excited to just propagate some more, downsize some plants, and get some other plants, you know, finally growing the way that I want them. I have so much plant care and repotting to do, so stay tuned. I'll probably be doing a bunch of repotting videos on my channel. But yes, thank you so much for watching my favorites, and I will talk to you guys again very soon.